All right, for more on this, we are now being joined by Alan Bernstein, visiting assistant professor, Israel Institute fellow at Department of Political Science, University of California. He's joining us live from California. Thanks very much, sir, for speaking with WION.
Thank you for having me.
Sir, let's start with the situation on the ground. How do you assess that? The armed groups in Gaza saying 300 rockets being fired, Israeli Prime Minister saying that the campaign in Gaza is not over yet. How do you see the situation panning out?
So really, the key actor in this, in the current state, surprisingly, is Hamas. Hamas is the group that controls the Gaza Strip. And if Hamas would like, they could stop the Palestinian Islamic Jihad and say no more. Or they could, what they've done so far, allow the Palestinian Islamic Jihad to just continue and say, you can retaliate, we're not going to stop you. Hamas is under a lot of pressure from Iran to join in the fray and attack Israel. Israel so far has refrained from attacking the Hamas movement in hopes to keep it out of the fray. And really we have this unique situation where Israel and Palestinian Islamic Jihad are attacking each other. The two sides refuse to speak to one another. They are both setting their own terms for ceasefire. And Hamas is sort of in the middle, trying to support the jihad on the one hand. On the other hand, they are desperately trying to avoid a full-scale war because that would be detrimental for their rule in the Gaza Strip. So it's this unique situation where everyone has their own interests. There are conditions for ceasefire, but no one's willing to really meet in the middle and achieve them so far.
Right, so also to understand this better, Egypt has started mediation talks. Do you think this is an effective strategy at this juncture, especially to get the two sides to the negotiating table?
So far, in every one of the rounds between Israel and militant Gaza groups, whether it's Hamas or the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, since 2007 when Hamas took over the Gaza Strip, Egypt has played a seminal role. Egypt has always been the one that has managed to broker a ceasefire because the two sides refuse to speak to one another directly. Hamas and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad do not recognize Israel's right to exist, and Israel says we don't talk to terror groups and therefore we're not going to talk to those groups. Egypt is the one that maintains a channel with both and has always managed to find a middle ground and really, I would argue, give both sides a ladder to climb down from their tree. Israel says they're not going to stop unless the other side accepts A, B, and C. The Palestinian militant groups say they're not going to stop unless Israel accepts 1, 2, 3. Egypt manages each time to find a ladder to say, okay, you can say you manage this, you can say you manage that, and both of you can now come to ceasefire. I think Egypt is trying. Egypt is very angry because they were very close to achieving a ceasefire between Israel and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. And then all of a sudden, Israel continued the raids and the jihad launched more rockets. So Egypt right now is confused that two sides want to come to a ceasefire. But I think they're the only ones who will be able to bring them to ceasefire, which we'll probably see in the coming days.
All right. Mr. Bernstein, thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast with your insights on this.
Thank you. Have a good day.